Hi chat, let's try to see how busted a Ravnos Anarch bleed deck can be. I'm playing a version of Darby Kinney's deck that he used to absolutely farm one of the North American Week of Nightmares events. The main difference in the Crypt is that I play a new blood, which he doesn't, and I also play a couple of different master cards and have slightly different card ratios. New blood has been great for me in more than one game before, and here, as you can see, we've drawn one as well, so the little guy is already locked in. You can find the deck in the description of the video, but in general it runs 19 Break the Bonds, 12 Memory Rifts, 11 Visions of Gehenna and 6 Villains. There you have it. More than 60% of the cards listed already. The math is absolutely mathing. Today's players are in the sitting order: Paul with Henry Taylor Twister, a deck you may recognize from the video with Helena Advanced I posted a couple of weeks ago, so if you know, you know. Second is Joao with Dominate, Fortitude, Bleed Grinder. It's Joao's takes on one of the VTES classic archetypes, and he is locked in with the classics. Third seed is Mieszko with Anti-Brujah Dragon's Breath Round Vote, a slightly modified version of Marcin Dude Szybkowski's tournament-winning deck, which has been rent-free in the Polish meta for quite some time. Fourth is Peitsa with Group 5 and 6 Banu Hakim Quietus Rush, bringing some very no-nonsense combat. And I am fifth, trying to get them all no cap. I start with an acceptable hand and a good Crypt. I have a prey who doesn't bounce bleeds and needs some time to develop, so it seems that quite a lot will depend on how much my Predator can stop me from ousting, but the setup is looking pretty bussin'. But I'm not the only aggressive player at this table. Mieszko has a great start, sets an early title on the table with no votes, plays Kind Resources Contested, and defends against Backer's Rush by sending him to torpor with the classic Concealed Weapon, Saturday Night Special and Dragon's Breath Rounds combination. Mieszko is absolutely aura farming. My new blood runs to help Peitsa and rescues Bakr, who plays the cost. Bakr is a dangerous vampire who could potentially torpor one of my minions each turn, so having him running around unchecked would be pretty sus. But I know that allowing a possible free Diablerie on Bakr could not only make Peitsa's situation very bad, but could also lead to the Anti-Brujah looking my way soon after they find the Dogs of War vote card. And I would like to postpone this for as long as I can, because becoming the main character this early would be not the vibe. If you're not familiar with the deck Paul is playing, I've covered it already in the Helena Advanced video. Basically, the deck teams out by burning cards with the burn option, tries to get Static Intercept, and with Superior Protean Discipline card, blocks endlessly with Earth Melts. The Smiling Jack is its only ousting tool. As with any other combo deck, if one piece of the combo fails, the deck fails as well, so if Henry pieces one of those pieces, the whole thing can fumble hard. And it seems that today might be the day that Henry won't get enough time to set up and stabilize, especially with the cross-table Banu Hakim being busy with its own aggressive Predator. If Henry can't get the engine running, this deck goes from scary to kinda mid very quickly. Paul is at 10 pool when Henry Taylor gets Anima Gathering, granting Henry 2 Static Intercept. The bad news is that I already have 4 minions ready to launch at him, so from my perspective, the timing is kinda cracked. Joao is playing a classic Dominate Fortitude mid-cap grinder, and is not wasting time and pushes Mieszko's pool heavily, putting him under pressure. Joao is a bit slowed down as one of his vampires is burned with Mieszko's Archon Investigation, so at least for now his grinder is getting a little bit nerfed. The idea of the brujah anti-tribu deck should already be emerging on the screen, but if you are not familiar with it, it is a bit dusty but still interesting archetype brought into tournament-winning deck archives by one of the Polish players called Dude in 2012, so almost 15 years ago. The plan is to build a wide board of low-capacity minions and embraces, basically getting the whole squad online. In the meantime, preferably early, get a title, play Dogs of War political action, with the help of a brujah anti-tribu card called Unexpected Coalition to push the vote. Getting your politics online. This card stays on the table, allows brujah anti-tribu to enter combat with other minions, and you can burn that card to cancel a blood hunt called on a brujah anti-tribu, which is pretty clutch. Mieszko ends his turn with Dogs of War in play and 12 pull. And that means that maybe after a bounce he would be in range of 2 dominate bleeders behind him. So he is starting to get a little cooked. With Mieszko a bit on the ropes and slowed down, Peitsa gets a bit of breathing space, and Bakr, who was so generously rescued by the new blood, now comes after Zafira, but doesn't have enough power to put her to torpor. So the rescue is looking a little scuffed for Bakr. Apparently, the +2 intercept from Anima Gathering was not enough for Henry Tyler, who gets locked with Superior Faceless Knight. Zafira is forced to hunt, but other minions bleed, leaving Paul on 3 pull, which becomes 2 pull after he decides on having Bleeding Divine unlocked. Things are not exactly giving for Paul right now. What you see me play is simple but not silly in my opinion, bleed deck that accelerates thanks to Break the Bond's presence effect, aiming to put 1 minion into play each turn. And when there are enough minions, we play Week of Nightmares and just oust everyone who can be ousted, basically sending the whole table to the Shadow Realm. Thanks to the Lock Vampire effect from Break the Bonds, Obfuscate Discipline, it is difficult to bounce the biggest bleed, so the deck can slay pretty hard against anyone who cannot interact with them. The brujah anti-tribu deck rushes threats and other voters, sending them to torpor like you've seen with Bakr, and diablerizes them, so basically if you're a vampire at the wrong place, you're cooked. Once a complete vote lock is achieved, the deck stabilizes with Consanguineous Wounds and ousts with bleed and political actions. The deck tends to generate a lot of table hate, and in my opinion requires a very good player and a lot of talking, because trying to pilot it like an NPC is probably not going to end well. Joao is pushing for his point now and brings Mieszko just 1 pull. An earlier decision by Mieszko to pay the Smiling Jack cost with the Embrace's blood, even though it forced those Embraces to hunt, now seems to have been crucial, as thanks to it Mieszko gets an additional turn. The decision is looking pretty clutch right now. Disappointingly for the brujah anti-tribu, the turn is used only to gain 2 pull from the Black Forest base action. No concealed weapon combo in hand to eliminate the threats available this time, so the combat package is kinda mid. Peitsa's turn passes without any threatening actions to us, so we can start our own key turn and the table is looking ripe. First, we bait Bleeding Divine usage from Paul by playing Villain, and yes, it gets cancelled. We get to play more Masters, Doubler, and the most important one, Week of Nightmares. With our Prey, Grand Prey and Mieszko on consequently 2, 5 and 3 pull, we are looking at a possible triple oust, which would be kind of cracked. We need to be careful though. Ravnos V5 is sitting there to punish the first minion if it gets blocked, and I'm sure Joao is sitting on at least 1 deflection, and we don't want to give him a free VP, so we need to play it safe and not get greedy. It seems we have our first VP in the bag with Elder Impersonation on hand, so we are looking pretty locked in. Let's watch and see if we can squeeze more out of this lemon. We try to be very careful with our bleeds. We are not using all 3 disciplines while bleeding Joao with Break the Bonds, because if we has at least 1 bounce and we bleed for 3, he gets the VP, so we are playing super safe. New Blood goes first with the Obfuscate he learned thanks to field training, which locks the potential bleed bouncer. New Blood hits for 1, and we still played safely, bleeding twice for 2. Our bleed hit the target, and New Blood is absolutely cooking. Gathii is our last unlocked minion, and he gets Mieszko, who does not have intercept easily. We finish our turn by influencing a 6th vampire, and with Week of Nightmares on the table and 28 pull. It looks like we can hope for a sweep today, and the position is looking pretty clean. Peitsa torporizes one of our vampires. After villain and transfers, he sits on 18 pull. But to be honest, 18 pull is not something that 4 Ravnos with Week of Nightmares and the support of a mighty New Blood shouldn't be able to handle, so I'm not exactly sweating it. Another Doubler and an Antediluvian Awakening land on the table, allowing us to lower the difficulty bar by 1 pull and cycle 2 cards. Again, the deck swings and delivers, no cap. And again, it is the final action of the New Blood that closes the game after about only 50 minutes. I think that this deck is among the top choices in the meta right now. But after this game, I think we have to give the New Blood its flowers. This little guy has the Riz, the aura, and the actual results to back it up. He is absolutely slaying in this deck. I hope you enjoyed watching the game. See you next time.